Hello, YouTube and CCI family, and welcome back. Today, we're taking a closer look at something a bit different: defense stocks. We've covered plenty of growth sectors lately, but today we're putting the spotlight on SHLD and a few other key players in the defense space. Now, before we dive into the specifics of SHLD, let's take a moment to look at the world around us, because frankly, it's tense. Just this month, the United States launched a full-scale military operation in Venezuela, capturing President Nicolas Maduro and triggering a wave of international backlash. Colombia's already bracing for a refugee surge, and the UN is calling emergency meetings. And that's just one flashpoint. We've got ongoing conflicts in Eastern Europe, rising tensions in the South China Sea, and cyber threats that are becoming more sophisticated by the day. Whether it's boots on the ground or satellites in orbit, defense spending is ramping up globally and fast. So here's the question. If the world is preparing for conflict, shouldn't investors be preparing too? Now, I'm not saying go all in on war stocks. That's not what we do here. But I am saying that defense-related investments, like the SHLD ETF, are worth a closer look before the headlines start driving prices higher. Because once the market reacts, it's often too late to catch the wave. So what is SHLD exactly? SHLD stands for the Global X Defense Tech ETF. It's a basket of companies, not just one, that are deeply involved in defense innovation. We're talking about firms like Lockheed Martin, RTX Corporation, Palantir Technologies, and Rheinmetall AG. These companies build everything from fighter jets to battlefield AI, to secure communications networks. And the beauty of an ETF like SHLD is that it spreads your investment across multiple players. You're not betting on one company to win a contract. You're investing in the entire ecosystem of defense technology. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think defense stocks are a smart play in today's climate? Are you already holding SHLD or considering it? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you've got questions, send them in. I'll be answering a few in the next segment. Now let's continue. So now let's take a look at just some of the top holdings inside SHLD and what they do. Starting with Lockheed Martin, Advanced Aircraft and Missile Systems, Rheinmetall AG Armored Vehicles and Ammunition, RTX Radar and Missile Defense Tech, Palantir Battlefield Data and AI Platforms, General Dynamics Submarines and Secure Communications, Northrop Grumman Strategic Aircraft and Space Systems, Honeywell Avionics and Aerospace Components, KBR Defense Engineering and Mission Support, Teledyne Sensors, Imaging and Surveillance Tech. Now, seeing these names laid out like this gives you a clearer picture of what SHLD is built on. Real companies producing real defense technology. But this isn't the only defense ETF out there. There are several funds in this space, like ITA, XR, and PPA, each with their own mix of contractors, manufacturers, and defense tech innovators. But SHLD is a great starting point for beginners because the price point is accessible, and the holdings give you immediate exposure to both traditional defense giants and newer tech-driven players. And of course, you don't have to go the ETF route. You can always invest in individual companies if you prefer to build your own portfolio piece by piece. That's why doing your research is so important. Understanding what each company actually produces, how they make money, and where they fit into the bigger defense ecosystem. ETFs like SHLD simply give you the whole basket in one move. Instead of choosing one winner, you're spreading your exposure across the sector. And in times like these, diversification can make a big difference. Now, performance always tells its own story, so let's break that down. I've pulled up SHLD's year to date. The performance, its one-year trend, and the full chart going back to inception. Looking at all three together gives you a much better sense of its volatility, its growth phases, and how consistently it's tracked the defense sector. What you'll notice right away is how each time frame tells a slightly different story. Short-term moves can look choppy, but when you zoom out to the 1 year, and especially the full range chart, the broader trend becomes a lot clearer. At the end of the day, what matters most is how these kinds of investments fit into your strategy. Defense isn't just a headline sector. It's a space built on long-term demand, steady contracts, and companies that tend to stay relevant no matter what's happening in the broader market. So if SHLD or any of these defense names caught your attention today, take a moment to think about how they might play a role in your own portfolio, and let me know what you're considering. I'm always interested in hearing how you all approach opportunities like this. And before we close out, a quick heads up. We've been working on something a bit bigger behind the scenes. Our first travel segments are officially in motion. It's going to take some time to get everything right, but they're coming in the near future. In fact, here's a tiny sneak peek. All right, that's going to do it for today's breakdown. Thanks for joining us and taking another step in strengthening your investing knowledge. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll have our emerging market specialist, Raj Malhotra, joining us in the studio. You don't want to miss that. Have a blessed and financially successful week ahead.